Hello, Simon. You are best known as a child prodigy, adept at Dame Edna impersonations, an outspoken captain of Games Master Team, the Essex All-Stars. What have you been up to since?
Wow, this is the best introduction I've ever received. Oh my God, this is nice of you to shame me so early on. I guess since then I've sort of been doing the same sort of thing, but in a way that's slightly more likeable. I really had to learn how to turn that precocious child into somebody that people might actually want to pay and watch. Yeah.
I liked it when you grabbed the microphone off Dexter Fletcher.
Yeah, I did, didn't I? I said I wanted his job. But then I got it. I got it though, didn't I?
What, the Games Master job?
Well, not that job. The job of, the job of television presenting,
yeah.
I suppose. Yeah, I was. It's funny, like, that kid, that weird kid. It's annoying because now people will go and watch these things on YouTube if they haven't seen them, and for me, enough people have seen them already. But he was really good at getting stuff done, that kid.
Very confident, yeah.
But so, like, an atrocious personality. But I think it wasn't actually I just thought that's what you needed for people to pay attention to you if you were going to be on television.
Yeah.
I thought that's what, like, actually I was like a really shy kid and I wouldn't even go to parties. But as soon as the camera was on me, then I became that monster.
Yeah, of course, people would actually know you for, like, Popworld, Never Mind the Buzzcocks, and the sitcom Grandma's House recently.
Okay, yeah.
In your recent web chat at The Guardian, you referenced watching the documentary Earthlings. What impact did it have on you, and what was your eventual journey towards veganism?
Well, that documentary just made me feel awful for about 3 days. So it's quite a tough documentary to recommend people watch because I know what it did to me. I had already been a vegetarian since I was 24, 25, and I'd been a vegan-ish for 2 years. So I was a vegan who would occasionally need some Ben & Jerry's in my life. And after watching that documentary, that meant that couldn't happen anymore. So it was quite helpful for my own selfish needs to avoid eating ice cream. I think it started really when I went to Thailand and felt this kind of calm that I hadn't felt before. And then on the plane journey home, I saw a monk who looked completely at peace, and I felt like that was something that I didn't have. And so I read a lot about Buddhism, did not become a Buddhist, but I thought I'd take on some of the key things that you're not supposed to do. So I stopped drinking alcohol and stopped eating meat. And my life's been great since. Is that the ending to that sentence?
Yeah. So we should say that Earthlings is a documentary that describes the way that we exploit other animals, our fellow Earthlings. And so do you think people should watch it if they are consuming animal products?
Yeah, I mean, it's the reality of what's going on. So I think as much as we can, we should expose ourselves to reality rather than... The trouble is it's difficult to know what... it was the hardest part of my stand-up show to write a bit about animals because nobody agrees. So I stood there in a room trying to make a lot of people laugh. And part of that is that they're relating to what you're saying and they're coming with you on this journey, and there's a wall that gets put up. So it was really difficult to find the right way of expressing what I felt was the truth for me. I still don't know really what to say at dinner parties because you're sat there eating with people, and that's usually when it comes up because people just don't like that, don't want to be told what to do. If they're an adult eating a chicken, they don't want to be told that this is a horrific thing to be doing, both for themselves and for the chicken involved. What I noted was that people tend to ask me questions. So they're asking me why I'm eating a different thing. I think what is happening there when they're asking why are you a vegan is they're not asking why you're a vegan, they're asking, can you tell me that your reason for eating something different to me is ridiculous so that I can carry on eating what I'm eating. There's a sense in the people eating the animals that there is something a bit off about it. So they're wanting you to say something so that just validate the food that what they're putting in their mouths. I imagine in the same way that if you got together with some slave owners and you were the one guy at the table who had decided not to use slaves anymore, they'd go, well, so how come you stopped using slaves? How come? And you go, well, because I think thinking about it and so having sort of read some stuff, it seems to be the case that they suffer as much as other beings. They seem to be intelligent, but I think maybe it's not quite okay. and then I think the slave owners then go, I think do they suffer as much are they as intelligent, these slaves?
Yeah.
And so, there's a sense that, you're probably right, and in the future probably will be regarded as something that was a bit off. But at the moment, I just like slaves. I just like they're so convenient.
Yeah.
They're delicious. So I think that's what's going on. In the same way, I think we're all guilty of denying, elements of reality. I've got an iPhone. I'm sort of half aware as I'm using the iPhone that the minerals extracted from the ground have been extracted by slaves. I'm aware, but I feel like I need that phone more than I need to eat a cow. We're all sort of playing games with ourselves over the reality of what's going on in our lives, but it seems to me just quite easy, just quite like, you just be selfish about it. You could just go, everyone wants to just be thin and have good skin. You could just be really shallow about it and go, well, just stop eating all that cheese then. It's like you cut out the milk and then, you won't be so blotchy. So there's really... I think maybe that's another thing that could be. But then people don't really like that either. I don't know. What do I'm basically a comedian just trying to make people laugh, but also wanting to express something real and truthful.
So like you're saying at the dinner table, they almost want an absolution from you, don't they? Like validation that what they're doing is okay. Like,
you're fine, carry on. Yeah, it was. But then if you could become like a real lunatic if you want to. I mean, I don't know if you keep all your friends, but you can go, well, because you see what you're eating right now. Like, I've sat in front of people eating tongue, that's the most horrific. That's like, that tongue used to be used to eat other things because it was a living being that also ate stuff and felt things. But there's only so long you can do that before you sort of exhaust yourself, and you, I don't know, eventually you're sat in a room alone eating a lentil. I don't know what happens in the end. I don't know what happens.
Going back to the idea of not having the audience on your side as you talk about vegan material, it reminded me a bit of Benjamin Zephaniah when he recounts his turkey poem and so forth. The audience are like laughing really nervously, and it isn't meant to be funny a lot of the time, but they're laughing at him as he's telling this earnest poem about how he cares for turkeys. That's
the thing. But it's challenging though as a comedian. It means you have to make it solid. You have to make it so that there's no get out clause. You have to create this bit of material that's so funny and so well thought through. They are laughing, and they also can't leave thinking it's all right anymore. That's my aim. They laugh, and their lives have changed forever for the better. I don't know, but people, I was talking to some people who went to see Morrissey the other night, and they went and had a burger afterwards. Morrissey bangs on about this stuff more than anyone. I don't know if there's I don't know, what are you doing? How are you helping to... Have you convinced the people of Lincoln yet?
We run a vegan outreach group. We also happen to be one of the people who went to see Morrissey the other night.
Oh, right.
We went to, one of the few people who actually ate vegan afterwards. And everyone gets really annoyed about, putting on Meat is Murder. He used to have, I think it was a PETA video.
He used to have the PETA video, Meet Your Meat, and now he has From Farm to Fridge, which is a vegan video. And he's given an interview recently where he says he's kind of pretty much vegan these days. Again, you have that reaction as the audience are forced to watch this video during the song Meat is Murder.
Right.
And some people get very angry at having to watch this up on the screen, and very interesting the reaction he gets. He just turns around and watches the screen himself during the performance.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's no doubt that in the future we'll be right. It'll turn out that we were right, but in the meantime, we've got to hope for the best.
It's really hard because, like you said, dinner table. I tend not to. I won't discuss it at the dinner table. I'll make a very quick response, and that's it. I find it's the worst place to sort of quote unquote convert people. I do a lot online. I do a lot through the animal rescue community, trying to get them to connect the dots. You love dogs, fantastic, but what about the rest of the animals? And pigs are quite a good one to bring in because of their intelligence and the fact that they are as intelligent as dogs. And we're doing quite well actually. Recently, we seem to be on a bit of a roll here. Seem to be knocking down quite a few people and getting quite a lot. Can you tell me about going vegan and can I eat biscuits and things? It's like, yeah, you can eat biscuits. Jammy Dog is a vegan.
Can I eat biscuits?
Yeah,
that's very funny.
That's the deal clincher. Yeah.
Oh
Do I have to give up my biscuit?
As long as I can eat my biscuits.
I don't know if you heard of the Cambridge Declaration of Consciousness, but
no,
so all the neural scientists came together and said, once and for all, other species are as sentient as we are. They feel pain and suffer just as much as we do, down to so-called lower species like an octopus or, what have you. This is the case. And then with that knowledge, how can we justify causing unnecessary suffering?
The farming methods are so horrific. Even if I think you could maybe make a moral argument for a kind of circle of life argument where you're suggesting that we all sort of are living symbiotically and in a kind of respectful way, but that's not what's happening. Even if you were to make the argument that there's a food chain and there's nothing joyful or spiritual or respectful about the process. So imagine it's just best to opt out of the whole thing. People with their own farms, like I visited a pig farm recently, and there was a lot of talk of how they named the pigs if they weren't the ones that were going to be killed, and didn't name the other pigs. But the pigs don't know if they've got a name, or this is irrelevant to the pig. This is just a way of it being okay for us. It's really peculiar. It's a really strange thing. They felt that having this organic farm where the pigs are running around provides an alternative to the general way that these things are done.
Yeah, it doesn't really scale up to human rights very well either, does it? Saying we'll exploit you just in a nicer way, does it?
Right, exactly, yeah.
And you end up in the same slaughterhouse, your throat gets cut at the end, so it's difficult.
Yeah.
The episodes that preceded this, we had a narco-primitivist. Their thinking is, yes, we were once a sustainable animal, but we're not anymore, are we? And, it doesn't scale up. Having animal products in our lives doesn't scale up to meet the demand for 7.2 billion people. We're not bands of small hunter-gatherers anymore.
Yeah, it's a real... the whole environmental issue would be solved as well if we were all just vegans, right?
Definitely.
Or if I just made that up?
It'd make a big difference.
It would make a massive difference.
We'd need less land and we'd produce less greenhouse gas emissions. It would help a great deal.
And also, we'd all stop dying of heart disease and diabetes, right?
I don't know.
It seems it's for everyone's benefit that we stop eating animals in the way that we do.
Yeah.
And wearing them.
It's not hard. I mean, I went vegan at 17, living with my parents abroad. It was difficult, but if I could do it, where there literally was no alternative products apart from tofu, I really don't think it's that hard. I was pretty useless at it initially because I didn't realise things like toothpaste. But
what do you mean? What's in toothpaste? Oh my God! Oh no!
What isn't in toothpaste?
Oh, it's over. What about aloe dent? Is that all right?
That's okay. Aloe dent.
Oh, good. Okay.
Kingfish.
Really? What have they killed to put in toothpaste?
Glycerin.
It's glycerin, so hooves and things.
Yikes.
It's disgusting. There's
a lot of slaughterhouse byproducts to go around, aren't there? So they go in a lot of different products.
Okay.
Shampoos, shower gels.
Oh, it's ridiculous. That's probably the hardest thing is when I had a friend recently go vegan, and I'm sort of her mentor, really helping her, and she got the food side of things no problem. She, once she realised, whey means milk and things like that, it literally was the fact that she said everything I own has animal products in. I said, well, just use them up and then just replace them slowly. Mm-hmm. It's hard and it's quite scary how much, but in the UK we have Superdrug, and Superdrug label says stuff vegan, so that's quite useful. Did you not know that?
No.
On the back they'll say if it's vegan, so their own products they'll say if it's they'll say vegetarian and vegan, so like their sun cream is vegan, and their shampoos and conditioners are, and all sorts, which is quite useful.
I've really got to go and look in some cupboards now.
Hi, I'm Peter Vegan Power Ebden, former world snooker champion, and when I'm taking a break from making breaks, I tune into the Species Barrier radio show on Siren 107.3 FM.
I was going to reference a Popworld skit with Amy Winehouse where she was making meat, but it wasn't you, was it?
That was not me.
No.
We did something, we threw some tomatoes at posters of other pop stars.
Yeah, Dido, yeah.
Yeah, that was quite fun.
I watched all the Popworlds back then, but definitely remembered meat was the comedy device, and I was going to reference it, but it was Alex Zane.
Yeah, no, nothing to do with me. Definitely nothing to do with me.
I was going to just see what you thought about it now, but not you. Yeah, you referenced a little bit of this joke earlier, but should our species persist, your numb stand-up show sees you question how future generations might look back on our beliefs and behaviour regarding other animals.
I'm very impatient for this time that we live in and the things that are considered normal. People talk about the past, history, that was all ridiculous. How could any of that have happened? I would like to be in the future now or somewhere else so I could look back at this time and say, do you remember when people drank milk from other species? Did they see cows feeding their calves and think, yeah, that's probably for me?
There's no way I can now retell the joke with the full joy and gusto that it's performed. But it's something about, it's like weird that we drink milk from another species, that we'll look back and we'll think this was a strange thing to have done. So it's probably something to do with the fact that we just miss our mother's breast milk, that we were content then on the breast, and then that was denied of us, and so we've looked around as egomaniac humans and thought, well, it's now inappropriate to suck my mother's breast. Is there anyone else available? And we've ended up stealing the milk from cows, and the cows must be thinking, this is nothing to do with you. This is an issue with your mother. There you go. I've just done that. I just hauled myself out for you on the radio.
Pets.
You want me to do another one?
Yes,
I can't just do the jokes. I mean, you could play clips. Could you play clips?
That would actually...
Have we got your permissions to play clips?
Yeah, play a clip rather than
Good,
having
we will edit that and play the clip.
Do you remember when people got upset when their pets died, but then when other animals died, they ate them?
Okay, we just listened to the clip about the difference between how we perceive pets and farmed animals.
Right.
What was the thinking behind that one?
This is the best interview I've ever done. What was I talking about there? About how it's odd that it was like something about, do you remember a time, I'm sort of looking to the future and remembering a time where we used to love our pets but got upset when other animals died, we ate them. Yeah, this is a nice way for me to sort of wake up and sort of ruin jokes that I used to tell.
This is from your last set. You don't have to worry about these jokes anymore.
Okay. In the new one, there's a joke that I could not make anyone laugh at. There's a bit where I talk about how fur is the thing we've all agreed on as the most disgusting, sometimes for people, like the only bit that's disgusting. Maybe fox hunting and fur, like we'd hate fur.
Yeah.
And it's like a tiny element of it. It's like we're all guards at a concentration camp, and we're kind of fine with what's going on generally, as long as we don't have to really see it. But if we see somebody wearing a coat made of Jewish hair, this is very upsetting. Nobody will laugh at this statement.
We'll laugh at it. We agree. We agree with it.
We'll laugh at it.
Well, we'll clap approval.
People are horrified. First of all, you brought up the Holocaust, where so people are going, oh, hang on, is this funny, or are we supposed to just look concerned? And then you suggest that what they're doing right now is equivalent to a Holocaust, and then they're just looking at you going, what? Why are you saying these words? We've come for a nice evening.
Well, you've done the double whammy now. You've done slavery and the Holocaust in this
Yeah, I mean, I've
interview.
just been influenced by that book that my boyfriend gave me. I can't remember what it's called now. Peter Singer.
Animal Liberation.
Animal Liberation. So I've been influenced by that book.
There is actually a book that compares animal agriculture with slavery called The Dreaded Comparison. Then there's one that compares the Holocaust with animal use, which is called Eternal Treblinka. And that's written by a survivor of the Holocaust, I believe.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting book. Or at least it has a foreword by somebody who survived the Holocaust. And then it makes all the comparisons. But like you say, that can be taboo for a lot of people.
I also learned that it's not good. I was hosting a charity event recently for War Child, where we were raising money to save children affected by war, whilst people were eating dead pigs. It was like an interesting. It was an interesting thing. It was like, definitely, it's good to be here, saving the children. But where were you for the piglets? Where were you? People did not laugh at these jokes.
You actually said that?
This vegan, that kind of thing, I was sort of talking about being that's why I visited this farm, because the people hosting the event had just sort of started this farm, and so we were... Anyways, it was people are not keen. People are not keen on this sort of, this truth-telling.
You could have
just trying to tell the truth, right?
Could have thrown in a few jokes about free-range children or...
Oh,
Organic children.
The other problem was that I went on straight after the guy who runs War Child had done a 20-minute speech about the horrors that children are facing. And so to be funny after that, if you're talking about anything, is quite tricky.
Exactly. The issue of fur, that's something that we constantly talk about. We've come at it from I don't know if you've heard abolitionist veganism and kind of stuff.
No, go on. What's an abolitionist?
You're really into vegan education as opposed to doing saying against fur or against factory farms. We say, we're against animal use, basically. So we wouldn't say we'll go out and do an anti-fur demo, because you're saying the shop that sells fur, it's all for you sell fur.
The leather's okay.
Yeah, the leather's fine. That's normal. So we focus more on that, and it's also the people who do these single issues or the smaller campaigns tend to focus on the quote-unquote low-hanging fruits, which are going to go anyway at some point.
I believe that 99.7% of animal deaths is due to the food industry, so that really shows you what a tiny percentage things even such as vivisection are, and fur and all these other issues. They pale in comparison to the total for farmed animals, really.
Well, you've convinced me.
We're on board with the joke. So you reflected on the perceived misery of being vegan also in that show. Were you talking about the burden of being awoken to the suffering, or the personal hardship of perceived asceticism and abstention?
I can't remember, but I don't think it hasn't been a problem at all giving up eating animals or drinking milk. None of this is a problem. It's only been positive for my life, because I was addicted to chocolate cake and I needed the label vegan to stop me eating chocolate cake, in the same way that the only way to not drink alcohol at a party is to be a recovering alcoholic, because then people don't bother you. But if you're just someone who doesn't drink, which is what I am, people go, well, have a drink. All these people are doing is trying to turn people into an alcoholic, and if they meet one, then they go, oh, you're done, that's fine. So I just repeated a joke from Numb there. Did you spot that? I just did the joke for you. Really, all I'm doing is not doing something. To me, the word vegan shouldn't even exist, really. It should just be murderers and the good people. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm in terms of my health and happiness and that kind of thing. The whole thing's been a joy. The misery, I suppose, is in when you're seeing, like a big event that's catered, and it's just you're now seeing the death. You're not seeing just a nice wedding. You're seeing a lot of death on the table. It's a bit much. It's a bit upsetting, and also like people that you like or love eating things that have been killed, and you have to really judgmental. So I have to turn that off a bit. When I was younger, I was eating a McDonald's or a Burger King. I was eating horrific food every day. So I suppose everyone's on their own journey. What's my point? It's okay. I think it's worth the bother. It's only a small change. I don't think it's a big change. I don't think it's a big deal.
So you didn't actually get dished up an avocado on your plate then?
In Grandma's house that happened. Yeah, no, that did happen.
Oh no!
Oh, that was so sweet though. It was funnier in real life than so in the sitcom we had a scene where everyone was eating chicken, and my grandma gave me some avocado because she knew that I was a vegetarian. and I look at it in the sitcom and I go, oh, it's just one avocado. It was based on something that happened in real life, where I was at my grandma's house. Everyone was having like biscuits and cakes and things, but because she thought because I was a vegetarian, she gave me some vegetarian sausages. At the moment where everyone was eating cakes and crisps, I was like, what? It's just ridiculous. But it was like the thought that had gone into it was so sweet.
Yeah. I remember a vegan on Come Down With Me once, and he made his main meal slices of plain tofu in between slices of avocado.
Wow.
Yeah, it was not well received.
Not going to help anyone, is it?
Didn't work well at all.
Oh, boy.
Emphasis were commissioned to tote up the carbon footprint of your Numb 2012 tour. Factoring in the travel, accommodation and theatres, it suggested 42 tonnes of CO2, which is equivalent to the total annual footprints of 3 average UK citizens. Oh. Did you request this, and how do you hope to bring down the total on the latest tour?
Oh, they were, and I haven't I haven't done that for this one yet, but I will have to do that at some point.
Yeah.
I requested because I think I heard that somebody else, Radio had done it, and I think had used the same people. I don't know, it was also like an easy thing that I could do. Like, it was really easy. Like, when you have an agent and a tour manager, you can just send an email and say, can we do this thing that Radiohead did? And then they say yes, and it gets organised. So, it wasn't a heroic act. But I think generally we can just do those sorts of things can just be done quite easily. So I don't think it's a real... I'm in a Prius driving around, we're on trains. It's just me and a support act and a tour manager. We're eating in vegetarian, vegan restaurants wherever we go. I don't know. It sounds like a fun tour, right? And then all the sex. And then we have a lot of sex.
Do you know the place to go to in Lincoln?
No, tell me.
Pimentos on Steep Hill.
I have to say we've got some pretty rubbish places, but we've only got up on Steep Hill, which is the only hill in Lincoln, so you really can't get lost. There's a little vegetarian cafe, and they do quite good vegan food, actually.
What's it called?
Pimentos.
Okay.
And it's also a place you might want to see, the cathedral, the castle. It's very close by, so...
And then where are all the sex parties?
The sex parties are in the cathedral.
Cathedral,
at 3 a.m.
Great. Thank you very much.
I guess we better finish with what can we expect from the new stand-up tour?
It's called To Be Free. I drank ayahuasca, this healing plant medicine, in Peru 2 years ago, and after that I felt healed. I felt like I was okay, though I didn't feel broken anymore. I didn't feel depressed. And I felt like I would just be free in the world, in myself and in the culture that I'm in. But it turned out there were still nagging insecurities within me, and also there are the fears of the society that mean that I can't just say or do whatever I want at any moment, which is, without wanting to hurt anyone, is freedom. Still not completely free, and it was an exploration of why that is, and it's about not being free in terms of my own nervousness or shyness around people. There's stories about wanting to have sex and fun and provide joy in my life and just being too scared to make those moves. And it's about living in a country where we have a royal family and the peculiarities of that. And there's stuff about being in a relationship and monogamy and still having fantasies about doing other things. It's about freedom, I guess is what I'm saying. And then there's a section in it, which is why I'm talking to you today, I suppose, about animals and their freedom. It's been lovely talking to you today.
It's been great.
Nice talking to you.
And good luck with the fight.